All right, today we're diving into a guide for inner peace that comes from a really unexpected place, a 17th century kitchen. Yeah, I know it sounds a little strange, but stick with me because it's surprisingly modern. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? When your day is just a non-stop flood of notifications, demands, and distractions, just constant noise. It's so easy to think, man, the only way I'll ever find peace is if I can just get away from all this, you know? Like you need total silence.
But what if that's totally wrong? What if the real secret isn't about escaping the noise, but finding peace right in the middle of it? Well, that is exactly what one humble cook figured out nearly 400 years ago. His sanctuary wasn't some quiet chapel. Nope. It was the heart of a chaotic, clattering kitchen.
So who was this person? You might be picturing some famous theologian or maybe a hermit living out on a remote mountain. But he wasn't any of that. He was just a regular guy with a demanding job. His name was Brother Lawrence, and his workplace was the monastery kitchen. And here's what's so incredible about his story. He didn't see his work as a distraction from his spiritual life. He actually turned his work into his spiritual life. Think about that. He found a way to connect deeply with God while he was chopping vegetables and scrubbing pots.
So how'd he do it? You might be expecting some complex, multi-step meditation program, but his entire philosophy rests on one profoundly simple idea.
He called it practicing the presence of God. Now, don't get hung up on the formal name. Forget rigid rules or special techniques. This is simply about keeping a constant, quiet awareness and conversation with a loving presence through everything you do, whether you're sending an email, washing dishes, or stuck in traffic. It's about transforming every single one of those mundane moments. And this quote from him just absolutely nails his core message. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need some special skill set. According to Lawrence, all you need is the simple intention, the desire to connect. It's not about what you know, it's about what your heart wants. Now, this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work in practice? Well, Lawrence laid out a very clear 4-step process that helps build this into a daily habit. First, before you start any task, just for a moment, set your intention. Just acknowledge that God is present. Second, as you work, keep up a simple internal conversation. Third, offer the work itself. Kind of think of it as a gift. And fourth, when you're done, do a quick review. If it went well, give thanks. If you got distracted, just gently acknowledge it and return. No drama, no guilt.
So, here's the crucial point. You don't have to quit your job and join a monastery. The goal isn't to do holier things. It's about doing your ordinary, everyday things, but with a holy intention. That's the game changer. The most mundane task can become an act of love and connection.
Okay, this next part is what I find most revolutionary. What happens when you inevitably get distracted and forget to do all this? Because let's be honest, you will. And Lawrence's approach to failure is just incredibly freeing. I mean, think about how we usually react when we lose focus on a goal. We get anxious, right? We get frustrated. We feel guilty. We totally beat ourselves up. But Lawrence's response is the complete opposite. Acknowledge, return, and trust. It's just a gentle course correction, not a moment for crisis. And this is so key. For Brother Lawrence, the moment of realizing he'd been distracted wasn't a failure at all. It was an opportunity to practice turning back to God, to admit his weakness, and in doing so, to actually deepen his trust. The failure itself becomes part of the practice. How cool is that? So, what was the result of practicing this day in and day out for decades? What did this actually look like in his real, noisy life? Let's just paint a quick picture of his work environment. This wasn't a quiet library. It was a bustling kitchen. You've got people shouting orders, pots clanging, constant interruptions and demands. Honestly, it probably sounds a lot like many of our own modern workplaces. And yet this is what he said about it. For him, there was literally no difference between the chaos of work and the quiet of formal prayer. He had found a way to carry that deep internal tranquility with him, no matter what was happening on the outside. He possessed his peace, rather than having his peace possessed by his circumstances. Brother Lawrence believed this entire practice, this state of inner peace, was powered by 3 fundamental virtues working together. He actually called them the spiritual secret. And it's these 3 things right here: faith, hope, and love. So faith is that starting point, just believing this is even possible. Then hope comes in, which makes the whole journey seem less difficult. But love
Love is the final key. It's what transforms everything, making the practice feel easy, natural, and even joyful.
And that brings us to the end. The timeless wisdom of Brother Lawrence leaves us with a really powerful question. It's not about finding a new quiet place. It's about transforming the noisy places we already live in. So, what's your kitchen? Is it your office cubicle, your commute, your chaotic family home? Whatever it is, maybe that's the perfect place to begin.
For more spiritual resources, visit lokaken.ai.